All right, hello and welcome back to another 5K tennis discussion. It is Wednesday, May the 8th, 2019, and we are here for our 70th show, and that is 70.
I thought you were going to say the whole thing in Spanish.
Okay, hola and bienvenido. Welcome back, which bienvenido is welcome. Welcome back to another 5K tennis discussion. It is Ocho de Mayo, 2019.
2019.
And we are here for show number 70.
You should try it.
And at the French Open, we plan to intro in French. All right, so let's go. So please like and subscribe to our channel. Help us meet our goal of 1,000 subscribers. And we're going to get there. We're going to have a great time on the show when we do. So get ready for that. And by the way, we are always open to constructive criticism, positive criticism, anything that can help us to achieve that goal. So thanks as always for watching. There's a lot going on in the Mutua Madrid Open, both on the men's and women's side. So let's jump right in. Everybody ready? Carly, you ready?
Yes, ready.
All right, so we're going to start today's show with a quote of the day. Usually we end with a quote of the day, but we're going to start with a quote of the day and end with the quote of the day. So this quote of the day actually came from a great guy, a personal friend, a great coach, an elite coach at an elite level. And this comes from Michael Figgins, and also that has his company, Big Hit Sports International. And again, one heck of a coach. So this is his quote, not mine. So this comes from Mike Figgins. You ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Knock, knock. Who's there? The guy that finished second place. Okay?
Yeah. There's more, right?
Yes. Think about that. Knock, knock. Who's there? The guy who finished second place, right?
He said exactly, right? After that?
The next response is the guy who finished second. Who? The response is exactly. So I'll read it quickly so we can process that. Knock, knock. Who's there? The guy that finished second. The guy who finished second. Who? Exactly. The moral of the story is, in the game of tennis, and a lot of times in life in of itself, we don't remember who finishes second place, right?
Very true.
I can't say that there's not always room for second place, even though we coach that there is no room for second place, at least in the game we play, because someone wins and someone loses, and ultimately we want to win, correct?
That's correct. So why do they do a lot of consolation matches?
I think consolation matches in tennis tournaments is great for juniors in a sense, so they get more match practice instead of their parents maybe driving 200 miles to ultimately have one player lose and then go home. So I understand that aspect of it, but in the grand scheme of things, who really remembers who finishes in second place? Let's shoot out some examples, okay? Here's a topic, and this again is based on Mike Figgins' quote. Can anyone name second place players that have done really well to finish second? And I'll give you some examples. Carla came up with this one as we were writing this show. Number one, she came up with Malavia Washington.
Malavia Washington, yes.
Okay. Carla as well came up with Todd Martin.
Yeah.
Okay. As well, we came up with Elena Dementieva, the Russian player.
She was in 2 finals.
As well,
many of us remember that.
As well as Roberta Vinci, the Italian player that beat Serena in the U.S. Open in the semifinals and ultimately lost to her countrywoman, which I think was Panetta.
Yes.
Is that correct? I think Panetta, a.k.a.
Flavia Panetta, yes.
I think
Fognini's wife.
The wonderful Beard's wife. Okay, anyway, so there isn't, I guess in a sense, from a historical perspective, much grace in finishing second because we tend to forget about them. I came up with Tim Henman, but then I realized that he never made any major final.
He never did, no.
And ended up being in a lot of third and fourth place type perspectives.
Did you even know that Todd Martin made 2 finals? Did you know that?
I know he made at least 1. I did not know 2, but that's a great example. So number one, this is a great quote. Appreciate Mike Figgins for that quote. He wrote us this almost directly after the last show, and I circled it to make sure we read it on this one. So in the comments below, give us your second place players that you remember Furthermore, list any second place players, in other words, finalists and majors, that maybe none of us do remember. Okay, so ours were Malavea Washington, Todd Martin, Elena Dementieva, and Roberta
Well, I
Vinci.
could mention one that actually won that many won't remember. She won a U.S. or a French Open, Anastasia Meskina.
I didn't recall that. That's a great memory as well, Meskina.
I remember that because Dementieva played her in the final, and that would have been her chance to win a slam.
Give us
quite a few there. Ivo Maioli, who won the French Open final,
so
against Martina Hingis.
Yeah,
quite a few.
Give us your second place players that we don't remember, and then comment on the quote that Mike Figgins gave us. Great quote. Thanks, Mike, at Big Hit Sports International. Hope your team is doing well in Florida. All right, we have, by the way, a sportsmanship award. Actually, we have 2 sportsmanship awards to give out. I'm not sure if we have done a specific segment on a sportsmanship award on this show. I know we talk about how important sportsmanship is. So we're going to give out 2 sportsmanship awards that have taken place at Madrid within the past day and a half, okay? First sportsmanship award goes to David Ferrer. As we all know, David Ferrer, this is his last tournament. We did hear this a little bit earlier in the year and even late last year that this would be his last tournament. So we've kind of prepped for this, and we've kind of teased out that maybe there would be kind of a World Wrestling Entertainment script that goes along with this tournament, given that he is a hardcore veteran, loved in the locker room. We would like to see some type of outgoing Cinderella story, right?
Definitely.
So not only is the prophecy that I came up with continuing, he does have to face the young Sasha Zverev, which he beat, and I think in the last tournament.
It was on hard court. He beat him, yes.
But David Ferrer in his last tournament receives a sportsmanship award, and we will tell you why. He was playing Bautista Agut, and David Ferrer did win the match, but there was a point where David Ferrer was in question about not getting to a ball before it bounced twice. Upon replay, he definitely got to the ball before it bounced twice, and ultimately did win the point. However, the umpire did call it that way. Hey, you got to it before it bounced twice. And you won the point. David Ferrer approached Bautista Agut, told him that it was very close and he thought it may have bounced twice, and therefore alleviated the judge's rule and gave the point to Bautista Agut. That's sportsmanship. It was questionable. Bautista Agut has made it loud and clear for a long time that David Ferrer is his idol. So what a great display of sportsmanship to concede a point. And this was early in a third set where it really mattered about that point. And David Ferrer, the sportsman that he is, conceded the point, even though the judge was right, and gave the point away.
Yeah. I mean, that was wonderful to see. He did catch that ball before the second bounce.
Got under it.
Shows you the speed he has. We thought for a second he wouldn't finish the match because he had a trainer come out, but he was able to finish the match. I think Bautista let the whole idol thing get into his head. I mean, they've played, I think, 3 or 4 times, and Bautista's only won once.
Could it be, though, that there is some script in this tournament? I mean,
I don't think so. I don't think this is wrestling.
Well, I don't think it's wrestling either, but what a better way to send David Ferrer out. I still think that David Ferrer has a great chance against the young Zverev once again, but we will get into that. So sportsmanship award number 1 goes to David Ferrer. The second sportsmanship award goes to the American player Taylor Fritz, who I think is a young father in his own right.
Yes.
He was playing Novak Djokovic. Novak served a really good serve up the tee, looked good.
It wasn't up the tee, it was on the corner.
Well, yeah, a corner shot.
Back inside.
Yeah, so it looked good. The umpire called it out. Lines judge called it out. Fritz came up to the net and said, "Great serve, that's your point." Overruled the judge instead of sticking the point in his pocket. So I think that was another great display of sportsmanship. So we give 2 sportsmanship awards to David Ferrer for conceding the point, even though he was right. And number 2, Taylor Fritz for being honest and giving the point to Novak. So great sportsmanship awards to both players, and we'll start doing this on shows which we deem that we have sportsmanship awards moments that have come into fruition.
Yeah,
okay?
and actually, Fritz, I watched that match. He didn't play that set. He played that set pretty good. It's just that he couldn't keep up with Djokovic. But he's showing some potential.
Yeah, Djokovic looks like he's finding his form, so we'll see what happens here. I know that his draw is not necessarily super easy, and I know Federer will be looming out there at some point. The court is faster here in Madrid this year, and we'll get to that here shortly. But great sportsmanship for both of these players. And again, sportsmanship means a lot.
It does.
All right, a new type of award as well that we came up with earlier this morning, and this is a quote-unquote first time we have ever seen this in tennis award. First time ever seen this in tennis award. All right, here we go. First time I've ever seen this in tennis. Rapid fire. Here we go. Riley Opelka, the 7-foot American player, is taking on Dominic Thiem. Riley Opelka wins the first set. And finds himself in a hole in the second. In the midst of the changeover after the first set, we get some massaging from a trainer to the 7-foot Opelka. Comes out, finds himself down 3-0. Riley Opelka retires from the match, comes up to the net, shakes Dominic Thiem's hand, proceeds to shake the umpire's hand. Now, here comes the first time ever seen thing. We've all seen people retire. He picks up his racket bag. This is Opelka. Picks up now a 7-foot Opelka, which we know when you're 7 feet that you need to be really careful about your health because it's really hard to keep up with 7 feet. So he walks over to his racket bag, picks up his racket bag, pulls a Red Bull, like the fully caffeinated heavy sugar drink that is absolutely garbage for anyone to drink, no matter what, and I think kills people in large doses, at least kids anyway. Pulls out a Red Bull and begins to chug it and wave at the crowd as he's walking off the court.
You think that maybe they paid him to do that? Maybe Red Bull paid him to do that?
It's possible, but has anyone ever seen in any top-notch sport, basketball, baseball, football, track, any top-notch sport, golf even, has anyone ever seen someone concede a match, gingerly walk to their bag, pick it up, whip out a Red Bull, which is an absolute crap drink, and proceed to end the match chugging it on the way out? First time I've ever seen that.
I think they paid him.
First time I've ever seen that. First of all, drink choice. We have knocked on Sloane Stephens for her sponsorship with chocolate milk. And I gave that a tough deal in of itself. Okay, I get chocolate milk for babies and so forth. I get it. But chocolate milk for a tennis player and their prime.
Or even for an adult, chocolate milk is not good.
Not terribly a great drink
not
choice.
A good thing, no.
Red Bull would be below that, but we had to lap that up as consumers watching Opelka seemingly retire prematurely, simply to chug it on the way out. Number 2 with this first time ever seen thing, again, a 7-footer is a lot of body to keep up with. And look at Isner. I would doubt that Isner being, 6'10", 6'9", or 6'10", whatever, dream of doing so. I would ask Ivo Karlovic, John Isner, Kevin Anderson, even Del Potro, some of these real big guys that are much older and wiser than the young Opelka, if it was in his best interest to be chugging Red Bull after just conceding a match that he was very much still alive in. By the way, speaking of 7-foot men that are currently in the world of sports, this is a shout out to our Serbian viewers and Serbian fans, which, by the way, comprise about 17% of our viewers. That's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah.
Much love to all the Serbian viewers. Again, we really enjoy watching all the Serbian players, but this one actually involves basketball. I'm a big basketball fan. I was born a Lakers fan, born in California. I'm not really too high on the current Lakers situation, obviously well before LeBron James got there. But let's give a quick shout out to another 7-foot player from Serbia with the nickname Joker. All right?
There's another Joker.
There is another Joker. He's from Serbia, and he's a 7-footer. And we are talking about Nikola Jokic. 7-footer playing for the Denver Nuggets, who are up 3-2 in their NBA conference semifinals. They were up 3-2. So if they win the next game against the Portland Trailblazers, then Nikola Jokic will be facing off against what I think will be the Golden State Warriors. But again, this is a tennis show. But again, shout out to all these athletes and tennis and now in basketball that are making themselves apparent on the world stage. And this Joker, i.e., the second Joker, Nikola Jokic, is a solid basketball player. So given that my Lakers are out and her New York Knicks are out and have been out for a while, we are all Nuggets at this point. And let's go Joker number 2. Let's go!
I'm rooting for the Rockets to beat the Warriors.
Yeah, I
can't stand the Warriors.
I wonder if Nikola Jokic will at any point at 7 feet tall get upset that he's losing in whatever game that he plays. If he'll walk over to the side of the court and grab a Red Bull and chug it and just walk off the court. I
doubt it.
I wonder if he'll do that.
I doubt it.
All right. So can this Serbian basketball player, Nikola Jokic, can he win an NBA championship? I'm a big basketball fan. Hopefully some of our Serbian fans can help this happen. All right, let's go. Moving forward, we're going to get into Madrid and the results and some of this tournament history. Carla and I were driving to the store this morning, and on the way back, we both had a Madrid memory. And here is the memory. Does anyone remember in 2012 where this tournament manifested blue clay to play on, in which a lot of the players complained about?
Yes.
Furthermore, had fashion models as ball girls.
I'm sure the guys were happy.
The guys were happy with that.
I'm sure they were.
That year, if I remember correctly, Roger Federer won that tournament on the men's side. On the women's side, Serena Williams, I think, won that tournament. Does anyone, number one, remember the blue clay in Madrid? And number two, did anyone like it? Forget about the players from a fan's perspective.
I didn't like it. I thought it was so bright. I didn't like it one bit.
So it seems like yesterday, I thought it was a relatively fun tournament. I know that Nadal didn't like it because he didn't win the tournament.
Well, he lost in the semifinals to Andy Murray, I think. Pretty sure he did.
It seems like yesterday. We talked about this morning. You know, that was 2000 and when, and we looked it up 2012, and it seems like just yesterday we were watching blue clay in Madrid. Did anybody remember it?
It just lasted for a year. That was it.
It was 1 year.
Yeah.
And I remember some of the early rounds. There would be like players, especially the men's players. You know, they would be changing sides and sit down. And they would call for like their towel or their water, and they would get it, and they'd look up and see this like supermodel in front of them, and they got distracted. So I think the flavor was right for television, but I think sometimes it was distracting with the fashion supermodel ball girls for the players. Any thoughts? Do you remember?
Did they catch the ball good and throw it back?
I think they did.
Or did they tipsy to the ball and threw it back?
That was an interesting tournament.
Tossed it back.
All right, moving forward, the speed of the court this year in Madrid, it is faster than normal. Carla, I think you might have a statistic about how much faster the ball is traveling.
Compared to the last tournament, the serves are like 8 miles per hour more compared to Barcelona.
Yeah, now
which helps the players that like that faster pace, like Federer.
This is an important statistic. Carla dug this. I call this. She said again, she came up with this. The surface is 8 mile an hour.
Not really came up with it. More did some research.
You did some research. Great job. This is what I would call a stat of the day, a stat of the day, a stat of the day. The service speed as the ball comes off the ground is 8 mile an hour faster than other clay court surfaces logged this year. And that is a big help for the likes of Novak Djokovic. That's a big help for the likes of Roger Federer. That's a big help for Wawrinka, because these guys like to hit through the court. This won't be, in my opinion, a big help for the likes of Rafael Nadal. I think Dominic Thiem will like this as well. But let me just postulate this real quick, and I'm going to tease this out there. If Roland Garros this year is as fast as Madrid is this year, right? This, I think, opens the door big time for Roger Federer to win the French Open, if the surface is as fast as Madrid is. Again, just a quick a reminder that I have a bet with Anis Zizou that Roger Federer will indeed win the French Open. But I'm going to make a second bet to myself and to all of you. If Roger Federer wins the French Open, I will take my shirt off and I will show you my Roger Federer tattoo on my back. Okay? On top of that, if Roger Federer wins the French Open, then Anissa Zhu will be definitely doing something preposterous.
Then he might as well put a tattoo on his back. Fake tattoo.
No, but mine's real. My tattoo's real. So I'm going to tease this out
Fake
there.
tattoo.
If Roger Federer wins the French Open, I'll take my shirt off, and this tattoo on my back, Roger Federer tattoo, I got, I think, somewhere around 2011. And I will let it be seen. So be ready for that. If Roger Federer wins, shirt's coming off, you get to see the Roger Federer tattoo. Not scared, by the way. I'd show it to you anyway, but I just want to make it interesting. All right, moving forward, Grigor Dimitrov splits with his coach. Like I said, I think before this even happened that Grigor Dimitrov and Eugenie Bouchard need to team up as co-Instagram models and figure out some way they can model swimsuits for the world to see, because their tennis game isn't too worldly at this point, in my opinion. Your thoughts?
I think that he doesn't need the money as bad as Bouchard does, so I think he's got a lot more than she does, so he could just probably do some Chanel or Calvin Klein modeling. So, he doesn't need to go to Instagram.
Okay, so I didn't think about that. So
yeah, he doesn't need Instagram. So he's a different type of model.
Okay, so maybe Eugenie Bouchard sticks with the Instagram, leaves Grigor out of the mix, and then applies for a job doing underwear ads for Calvin Klein, or what was the other one you just said?
Chanel.
Chanel.
But she couldn't do that.
Wait a minute.
He could.
No. Grigor can't do Chanel.
No. You're right.
That's a girl thing.
But he could do those type of modeling jobs. Eugenie Bouchard is not in that category.
Or maybe like a Hanes commercial.
If she was Anna Kournikova, maybe, but no.
Anyway, all jokes aside, is this at this point a breath of fresh air for Dimitrov that can somehow change something?
He's what, 25, 26?
I don't think it changes anything. I think he
needs to find the hunger in it. I don't know. He needs to find the passion for tennis. If it's not there, it's never going to happen.
And what happened with Agassi and Steffi helping him out?
They were just helping out.
Well, I get why they were just helping out, because if you put the label coach behind it, and they still stink up the court like he's been doing for a very long time, then that makes...
That's a big bird, by the way.
So that's a crow. Is that a good thing when a crow lands on your doorstep? I don't know. That was a big bird. But does it mean... would it mean negative implications for Agassi and Steffi's camp in the Vegas area if they would have turned themselves coach, simply to have Dimitrov continue to do what he's been doing for a while, which is just absolutely playing subpar tennis?
I don't know. You know, it's kind of weird that Agassi didn't have a good run with Djokovic, and same thing with Dimitrov.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I don't blame Agassi and Steffi for never wanting to label coach. I'm sure there was capital that changed hands between them, but I think it was probably stated, do not call me coach, due to skepticism about Dimitrov's overall game. I'm just saying. Yeah. Does the new coach help Dimitrov at all?
What new coach? He hasn't had...
Well, he's going to get one eventually. Will a new coach help Dimitrov?
He's the only one that can help himself. He has, like I said, he has to find the desire to want to continue to play, to want to improve, to want to win. I don't think any coach can help him.
Yeah, my word for Dimitrov right now on his current form or state that he is in playing tennis, it seems a little off as one adjective, I guess you could say, or a little lazy. It just doesn't seem on point. Moving forward. I have a number 2, a second first-time seen award. So we gave out one for the Red Bull on the way out of the court from Opelka, but this second-time seen award comes from a commentator that was commentating during the David Ferrer and Bautista Agut match. So there is a country music song that I've always liked from a singer called Toby Keith, and that song was called As Good As I Once Was. All right? As good as I once was. So there is a line within that song that states, I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. So because the commentator didn't give any shout out to Toby Keith for those lyrics.
I think he did say Toby Keith.
He never said, I was out on the porch doing some work, and I said, is that a Toby Keith song?
He did say by Toby Keith, he said in the beginning.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
All right. So first time ever, I didn't hear that part. I was working outside doing some other work, and I heard that, but I had never once heard in commentary a country music chorus be a metaphor for a tennis player. So, and in this sense, do you believe that David Ferrer is not as good as he once was? but is as good once as he ever was?
Definitely. Yes, I would have to agree with that.
We'll see. A third, I have 3 of these. A third first-time seen award on the tennis court. And this will go out to Sloane Stevens' new coach. What is it? Groeneveld?
Groeneveld, yes.
Groeneveld. Again, this whole women's coaching on the sideline things is absolutely preposterous. I don't like it. I just want to turn the television off. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to read about it. I think it's shenanigans. So I'm calling shenanigans on it number 1.
It makes them look so weak. It makes these coaches, when they're kneeling down and just waiting for them to say you can go, just makes them look so weak. And it's, I don't know, I find it very disrespectful that a lot of the players don't even look at their coaches as they're talking to them. The only player I saw today was Sloane Stevens' opponent. I think it was Zhang. She looked directly at her coach anytime he spoke to her. But it just brings the coach down to like this little. I don't like it at all.
So the first ever thing for me was as Sloane Stevens' coach had come out numerous times. Okay, a lot. So while we had the luxury of watching a grown man kneel in front of Sloane Stevens, who wasn't even looking at the guy the entire time, it looked like some type of script that none of us care to watch anyway. But here was his words to Sloane Stevens. So you got this new coach, top notch, big money, gee whiz. Now he's on national television during a big match, right? And here's are his words to her in a nutshell. You have to turn when you hit. You have to turn your shoulders. So it was so funny that the commentator was like, geez, that's what I hear at my beginner lessons at my
Tracy
local
also
club.
said that, yeah.
So no, well, it was actually the gentleman that was interviewing with Tracy Austin. The gentleman's like, well, I take beginner lessons at the club, and that's what I hear. She doesn't know to turn. In other words, she was hitting an open stance forehand, meaning the front foot is behind her, and she was hardly turning her shoulders, so if the ball is coming at me, you couldn't see a hypothetical number on my back. You could kind of see her shoulder. So the coach had to come out and tell her, you have to turn before you hit the ball. Well, duh. I mean, that's like tennis 101. You got to turn, right?
That's what we tell our players that are just getting into the game. Make sure you turn your shoulders.
You got to turn. So we have some front page news in tennis that you got this new coach, and ultimately he comes out on the court and tells you got to turn. And then the second thing is questioning her tennis rackets. Do you have some nice freshly strung tennis rackets in your bag? Like, that really helps.
It just makes them sound so dumb. It really does.
It turns gladiator type sports into absolute cheesiness. Turn, and how are your tennis rackets?
Going back to the open stance, which you might disagree with me, but this is the reason why a lot of players hit off their back foot, because they do the open stance. Just saying.
And there's nothing wrong with the open stance, but when you hit an open shot, meaning your front foot is behind you, or your leading foot is behind you, you better darn well make sure you turn with a whole lot of extra emphasis, because otherwise it becomes all arm. And it's unfortunate that we have to watch a Grand Slam champion in Sloane Stevens have a coach come out and kneel in front of her for a second to simply ask about her strings on her tennis racket and tell her to turn sideways. I mean, you might as well have my 16-year-old son coach her for less money, because he could tell you the same thing.
That's what I said. Oh my God.
Just saying.
They should pay me to do that job. I'll tell her that.
My 9-year-old daughter could do that.
Make sure that you're strong. Make sure you hit deep.
Yes.
Hit the shots deep and just be strong. Keep strong in the point. I'm like, really?
Anyway, there's a whole lot of new segments going on because of this tournament. It's been a great tournament. I love this tournament. But we've seen some first-time things, and we've seen some good sportsmanship as well. All right, so let's move right into the Madrid draws and some results. By the way, Carla, I am doing very well on my picks. Again, if you are new to this channel, we always do predictive draws before the tournament start and then keep up with the results on the men's and women's side. Currently, I'm being humble in a way, but currently, out of the 13 men's players into the final 16, so there's 13 through that we haven't written down, 3 of them. I have 10. So out of the 13 done that are into the final 16, I have 10. On the women's side, we are headed towards the final 8, and I have 6 of the final 8. And a couple of matches have not completed. So I've done really well on this draw for the first time ever on clay, so I'm proud of that. I asked Carla how well she was doing, and her quote was, not even worth commenting on it.
I think I have 3 female players going on, and maybe 6 guys, if that.
So again, I have a Nadal versus Federer final, and I do have Federer winning, or excuse me, I have Nadal winning that tournament. I have Nadal winning this tournament over Federer, but I do have Federer winning the French. All right, let's jump right into the men's side of Madrid. Rapid.
All right, let's go. Novak Djokovic defeats Taylor Fritz 6-4, 6-2. First set was, par to par. Once he broke, it was done.
Great sportsmanship from Fritz in this match. We discussed it. Djokovic is too much. And I think Djokovic will be too much for Chardy in the next round.
Who destroyed Schwartzman 6-1, 6-2. Destroyed him. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
How does a veteran destroy you when you're supposed to be much better on clay with a better record?
Wait a minute. Chardy's a veteran too, though.
That's what I'm talking about. How do you let a veteran beat you that's about to retire from tennis?
Oh, okay, I read you. But Schwartzman's been around a while on clay too. Not as long as Chardy, though.
Not even nearly as long.
And big shout out to Arvis here, Arvis Yagamar, if you're watching this. Your boy Cecchinato that you've preached about being one of the greatest clay quarters ever lost, or not ever, but one of the best clay quarter on tour now that has a shot going deep at the French. He lost in the first round to this guy, Schwartzman, who got drilled by Chardy.
6-0 in the first set, by the way.
All right, Arvis, we got to pick up Cecchinato, Arvis. Give him some positive energy.
Yep. Marin Cilic from Croatia will face off Laszlo Djere. Laszlo Djere took out Del Potro in 3 sets. This was actually a fun, exciting match to watch. Del Potro was up on the third set. I thought he had it, but Djere was too much for him.
I called this on my draw. This is one of my upsets here on the draw. Laszlo Djere. I have meeting Djokovic. Okay, on my predictive draw, I have Djokovic winning that. But Laszlo Djere showed class.
Is it Djere or Djere, guys?
Djere. We get drilled for name pronunciations. I hear Djere, even on sports channels and radio, and I hear Djere as well. But I hear more Djere than Djere.
Okay. Well, Struff was eliminated by Cilic. So who are you picking on that match, Cilic or Djere?
I'm going to go with Djere simply because I have Djere in my predictive draw moving forward to meet Djokovic. So I'm going to pick Djere in that match. I think Djere has done really well, and I expect him to continue to do so.
So we might see 2 Serbians, Djokovic and Djere, against each other.
I think that would be a great match.
That would be a fun match to watch, definitely. Next match was Roger Federer, who took out last night Richard Gasquet. 6-2, 6-3 wasn't even a competitive match. He made Gasquet look like he was a beginner.
It's a beautiful
He had no
match.
answers. We watched Federer serve and volley, which was, rare to see on clay court.
His ace count was high. His footwork was good. Everything was crisp in Roger's game. The faster court enabled his ace count to rise up.
I feel like you're doing a commercial.
So look,
it sounds like you're doing one of our commercials.
Again, I'm the biggest Roger fan on the planet. His game was crisp. He looked like the Roger that has always been. His footwork was good. His outfit looked good. He was crisp. He didn't sweat. He was getting to the ball. He was serving and volleying. The game was kept out front of him. His hair looked good. His headband looked good.
And he looked thicker, like he'd been in the
gym. He looked like he's been training.
In the gym, yes.
But I think that Federer will ultimately destroy Monfils in the next round. Again, Monfils took out Fusovic today. Your boy, the Hungarian demon beast himself. But I think that Federer will ultimately go through Monfils as well. And I think that Federer will inch up and meet Djokovic eventually.
Well, the beautiful beard, Fognini, defeated Millman 6-2, 6-2, and will face off Dominic Thiem. Dominic Thiem had lost the first to 7-6. Then he won 6-3. It was 1-0, and Opelka, as we spoke about earlier, retired. So it'll be Thiem, Fognini. I think Thiem better watch out. Fognini will be a tough opponent.
And by the way, if you saw the Monfils match we just discussed, Monfils had dropped the first set. I think it was 1-6. But I think he got down early and just kind of said, let me conserve my energy, and won the match. I just wanted to mention that. So Monfils, Federer should be a good match. Yes. Fognini, Thiem, I personally think that this will be a good match.
It'll be a good match to watch.
I don't care to watch necessarily Fognini.
I'm going to watch it just because this might be the guy I pick at the French Open as one of my dark horses.
Yeah, I mean, we can't forget that Thiem lost the first set to the Red Bull drinker himself, Riley Opelka. So, I don't...
We got a new nickname.
The Red Bull drinker?
Yes. You got Potty Mouth Putintseva, and now you got Red Bull drinker Opelka.
Redneck drinker, or redneck. Red Bull drinker Opelka.
B-Dog's going to get you.
Maybe I should have given redneck to Isner. I don't know. He's the Georgia boy.
Oh, boy.
All right, anyway, I'm just totally kidding, obviously. All right, so I think Thiem wins that match, though. Tsitsipas took out Manarino earlier. Tsitsipas has had a hot hand on clay.
6-2, 7-5.
Tsitsipas has had a hot hand on clay, and so I give you finally some respect for you calling out some of the next best players. And you called Tsitsipas long before he even won anything. You know, you liked his game. I still think he's a little spastic on court.
I like the one-handed backhand. He's working hard. He's working hard off court and on court. He's determined to make a name for himself.
All right, a couple matches that have not finished as of yet.
We have time. Verdasco Hachinov will play later on.
We're only at 9 minutes, though.
Pui and Hurkacz are currently playing. Hurkacz is up a set, 7-5 and 1-0. Also, we have Federer and Zverev tonight. I'm hoping Federer wins this match.
I'm hoping Federer wins that as well.
Nishikori will face off Stan Wawrinka. Stan Wawrinka took out Peja 6-3, 6-4, and Nishikori took out Delian 7-5, 7-5. This should be a good match. I'm picking Wawrinka.
This is a great match. Thank you very much for reminding me about that. I selected Nishikori and Wawrinka to meet each other before this tournament started. I do have Wawrinka winning that match. He has been striking the ball well.
Beautiful.
Hitting the ball very hard with a lot of control.
Love your highlights.
So he's been doing real well. Carla noticed he's got some highlights in his hair, so maybe that will streamline his game, kind of like the likes of Benoit Pierre and his hyped up collar, and his hair streamlines. So is that what they're called? Oh, you said highlights.
They're definitely highlights, yeah.
As you can tell, I don't have highlights in my hair. I'm highlighting my bald head.
I've never highlighted my hair, but I noticed it. Francis Tiafoe, he took out Kohlschreiber. This was a 3-set battle. At the end, you know, Tiafoe was... Kohlschreiber should have won that match. He's better on clay. Nadal took out the youngster, Felix Aguirre-Aliassime, 6-3, 6-3. So it'll be Tiafoe-Nadal match. I'm pretty sure Nadal will get through this match, being that Tiafoe really doesn't do well on clay. And surprisingly, he is now further into this tournament.
Yeah, again, no shock either way for me there. I mean, again, Tiafoe is a run-of-the-mill player. Nothing great, not bad, but run-of-the-mill. Kohlschreiber is a veteran, a great player at one point in time. Maybe, okay,
sure.
We'll go back to the country song. I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. So maybe Kohlschreiber wasn't as good as he once was, nor was he as good as he ever was in this match.
Sure.
Maybe okay. So. All right, women's side.
Osaka took out Sasnovich 6-2, 6-3. Osaka looked pretty solid. She definitely can play on clay. I just think she's making excuses in case she loses.
Yes, she is.
She definitely can play clay.
Exactly well said.
She just doesn't want anybody to give her any more heat since she's been receiving a lot.
Yeah, I have I predicted this quarterfinal Osaka Bencic on my predictive draw. I do have Osaka winning that match, but I think just on paper before it started, but I think Bencic could actually win it. But I predicted Osaka. But I guess right now, if I could change what I predicted before, I would go with Bencic.
Well, Bencic took out Kozlova 6-0, 6-2. So it'll be a Bencic Osaka. I'm going for Bencic since that's what I picked earlier.
Yeah, I predicted Osaka, but if I had to put my house on it right now, I would go with Bencic.
Halep gave a 0-0, 6-0, 6-0 to Kusmova. Ouch. And Barty took out Padimouth Potinseva in 3 sets, so it'll be a Halep Barty match. I'm guessing, for me, I'm picking Halep to win. I think she's better in clay. She did win a French Open. I think she'll be too much for Barty.
Yeah, I think, once again, I think Halep will have to be careful here. If she gets into a dogfight at this point, how much energy is she willing to expend? She's not going to double bagel Barty, and that's a fact. She's not going to double bagel her. I did predict that this quarterfinal would happen. So, of my top half of my women's draw, I had Osaka, Bencic, Halep, and Barty. So, I nailed all 4. Moving forward, I do have Osaka meeting Halep, but I do think at this point that it'll be Bencic against Halep, but we'll see. But right now, I'm 4 for 4 into the quarters up top.
All right, we just this match just finished a few minutes ago. Stevens took out Zhang in 3 sets. Not really an entertaining match. It was just a lot of breaks, a lot of mistakes. Either player could have won. I mean, I think she was lucky to get through this round, honestly.
That one doesn't hurt me because I picked Azarenka in this section, so I missed out on that one. But Sloane Stevens, a word of wisdom. If you still have to be told to turn to hit a ground stroke, then unfortunately nothing right now is helping you. You've got to turn immediately and turn quickly because if you're not, and especially if you're hitting open stance all the time, and you have to have a coach come out on court and tell you that, the future doesn't look too bright.
Mertic took out Vekic. They were on the 3rd set. She was up 3-0 and Vekic retired. So it'll be Stevens and Petra Martic. This was a big win for my draw because I have Petra Martic
going to the semifinals against Ostapenko, who we know lost, and I had Ostapenko winning that and then winning the tournament. So that whole bottom half is hurtful for me, but I did pick Petra Martic to go to the semifinals, so I'm happy about the win. She is good on clay, and I may very well select her on my fantasy team for the French Open.
Kiki Bertens took out Sevastova 6-1, 6-2, Cruz, and is waiting for the match between Kvitova and Garcia that play later on today.
That could be a good match, Kvitova-Garcia. I know
Kvitova won Madrid last year, so let's see what happens. I'm picking her to beat Garcia, since Garcia really has lost a lot of matches this year.
Well, yes, I was going to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. But however, Garcia can be a dominant player, as she showed some flashes the last tournament. She can play the game. I think Kvitova will ultimately win. I had Kvitova going to the quarters and meeting Ostapenko, but that can't happen. So I'm pulling for Kvitova here in a sense, but I wouldn't mind seeing Garcia move forward either. Okay? I just wouldn't. I think overall this is a great bottom half of the draw, but Martic down there I think can be dangerous, and so can Garcia and Kvitova.
Okay.
All right, moving forward. That's the end of the draws. Do you have anything you want to add? Who are your finalists, by the way, in your predicted draws? Your women's finalists, who do you got? You got Thiem and Nadal on your men's side.
Halep and Kvitova.
So you're still alive?
Yes.
So your final's still wide open?
Yes.
All right, so that's the end of the draws. So we are going to end the show. I know we started the show with a quote of the day, but we are going to end the show, as always, with another quote of the day. So here we go. New quote of the day. I finally realized that people are prisoners of their phones. That's why it's called a cell phone.
That's a joke, right?
It's a joke.
Yeah,
it's a joke, but yet, in all due seriousness, again, I look for an author of this quote, or whoever put the quote out. It said anonymous, so they didn't want to be mentioned, I guess. But think about this. I finally realized that people are prisoners of their phones. That's why it's called a cell phone. Yes, it's supposed to be ha-ha funny, but let me tell you how true this really is. In the past couple of weeks, and over the past couple of years, I see this a lot. And I'm going to tell you what I see a lot. I see people, let's say couples or friends, that are in the same seats, that are in the same car, that are in the same room, that are in the same building, and they're sitting right next to one another or in shouting distance away. And instead of talking to one another eye to eye or face to face, they're texting one another. So they're like, hello, how are you? Bloop, 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 bloop. Like, wait a minute. You're here. That person's there. Why wouldn't you just look them in the eye and say hello? This is one example, okay? This is true stuff. Have any of you seen two people communicating right next to one another? Literally, right next to one another. Like here and here. And instead of talking amongst one another, they're texting amongst one another. And then if one of them doesn't read it right, they're like, hey, this is what I meant here. Blah, 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 blah. So cheesy. And yet it is so isolating to oneself and the grand schemes of reality. People as well, all across the world, and especially here from what I hear, will truly think that people that they communicate with every day on some keyboard are their true friends, or their boyfriends, or girlfriends, or their online wife, or online husband, thinking that, first of all, you have to understand that the picture is probably not real, and if it is, if crap hits the fan and you're in some personal, very big issue, are they going to show up at your door and help you out? Are they going to help you get through the thick of things? Doubtful. Please, please, please understand that this quote, people are prisoners of their phones, is very true. Whether you agree with me or not, it is very true. Reality is in front of you. How much in this beautiful world in which we live do we miss out on? This, you just mentioned a bird that sat on the rail. I'm glad I saw that. I looked out the window. I see this beautiful bird on my rail. I could imagine missing that. I'm doing this. This is important. This is reality. But if I'm sitting here and I'm texting John Doe Schmo that says they love me on this phone, but yet I've never met them, and my whole day is revolving around right here, well, I would have missed the beautiful bird. Just saying, wake up. There's a whole lot going on out there. Right in front of you. People are beautiful. Don't judge people. Spark a conversation. The world is a beautiful place. If you think it's not a beautiful place, look at your own attitude. Your own attitude. If the world is not beautiful to you and everything within it, even if someone else is negative to you and you find it not beautiful, then we have an attitude problem. And that leads us into our attitude of the day quote. Here's the attitude of the day quote. Once you replace negative thoughts with positive ones, you will start having positive results. And that comes from Willie Nelson, all right? Keep your thinking caps on, everyone. Don't run off the court drinking Red Bull like Riley Opelka. Feel free to concede the point if the shot looked good. Feel free to give your opponent the point if it was questionable. You will be liked more on and off the court, and especially in the locker room. Good luck to Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, the 7-foot Serbian player that has not found a way to run off the court with Red Bull. As of now, because I'm a Lakers fan, she's a Knicks fan, I'm going to pull for the Nuggets to beat the Warriors ultimately in the West and then to win the championship. May or may not happen, but let's go! Let's go, Nuggets. I'm with you. All right, so that's it. Keep your thinking caps on. Don't breathe crap. Don't drink slop, and don't eat junk. It will always come back to haunt you. And please pay attention to the world going on outside of you, and don't be a prisoner to your cell phone. That's it. Much love to everyone. Click like below, subscribe below, share our videos. Feel free to contribute, and you can do that below in the description field. And as the lovely Carla always says,
Adios.
Adios. Let's go.
Don't fall.
Yeah, I fell last time.